Hello, everybody. Welcome here to the Wine with Jimmy channel. Delighted to have you on board. Welcome to the educational channel here, designed to help those of you wanting to learn a bit more about the world of wine, but specifically those of you that are studying the world of wine. So this series here is aimed at those of you taking the WSET Level 3. And this is the USA section looking at California. So you'll see here that California is a multi-part series. In fact, there are 9 in total. Parts 1 through to 4, including this video, is available as free content, but parts 5 through to 9, and that includes the very important short written answer walkthrough on part 9, that's only available as content on my e-learning portal. So that's over at www.winewithjimmy.com. If at any time you have any questions or concerns or comments, please put it in the comment section below this video. I'd be delighted to hear from you. And make sure you click like and subscribe to make sure that you receive regular updates from Wine with Jimmy. So let's get rocking on this slightly smaller video than the previous one, and that is looking at the white grape varieties of California. Really only here focusing on 2 for this certificate. Now many of you will know that in fact there's a big plethora of different varieties in California, but here we're actually just going to look at 2 major varieties. And of course, first and foremost, we are going to look at Chardonnay. Important for you as a student to understand Chardonnay, certainly where the premium examples are produced across the state of California, because it could easily typically be an examination question. So what about the Chardonnays? Now, Chardonnay is in fact the most planted grape variety of any of the colors, black or white, for varieties in California. So therefore, the most important in terms of acreage in the ground. So most people might have an idea about Californian Chardonnay. Maybe they would stereotype it as only one typical style, a fuller, a bigger, riper style. But in fact, there are a range of examples of Chardonnay produced from California. We have at one end these kind of inexpensive expressions. They are high volume, typically from places like the Central Valley, and they tend to be fruity with kind of low to medium acidities, and sometimes that kind of toasted note that may come from the addition of oak, not necessarily as a barrel. For an inexpensive wine, this is likely to be oak chippings or staves in terms of adding that flavor into the wine style. Now, in the past, I mentioned this, high quality premium Californian Chardonnay had a reputation solely for being one that was a full-bodied style Chardonnay with high alcohol and lower acidities, with obvious characteristics like hazelnut, oak, and then things like peach and banana. But please remember today that Californian Chardonnay is actually produced in a range of areas, range of latitudes, range of climates, and in fact we will find some slightly more restrained and elegant expressions, and that's why on the picture you have there I have left apple. You can find sort of apple to peach characters, but I suppose typically we would still say that the kind of banana, pineapple, and peach character is more evident in Californian Chardonnays. And here you go for an area becoming more well known for restrained styles. So as I mentioned, the restrained examples, those that are potentially lower in alcohols, lighter in body, with not as much obvious tropical fruit, are being produced from areas like down in the southern section near right down near sort of Los Angeles, for example. So the Santa Rita Hills or Santa Ynez, or if we move up towards places like sort of areas like Santa Cruz. And also, if you go up to the St. Lucia Highlands, and then even north of San Francisco, in a lot of the Sonoma areas, including this one here, Russian River Valley, for example. Um, you will find these styles being more brighter. The fruit tends to be more fresher and more acidic. And as I mentioned, lower amounts of alcohol. Now, this label actually is a 14.5, so that's actually going to be a relatively big one. But it's not necessarily the label we're telling you about here. It's the areas. I think more famously, actually, Los Coneros tends to produce some elegant styles as being one of the coolest parts in temperatures due to the San Pablo effect. And Los Coneros AVA actually straddles both Sonoma right at the southern section and Napa, and we find some quite lovely Chardonnays being produced there as well. But it's not as easy as me just giving you one place and saying this is an area famed for restrained styles. It's certainly a sort of a certain thought process behind the winemaker, a philosophy if they're going to make those more restrained styles. And Sauvignon Blanc would come in as our next grape variety. So the best Sauvignon Blanc from the region does tend to be found from California's coastal regions, giving wines with good acidities and citric characters. And here you've got lemon, lime, and grapefruit. But there are, of course, then expressions produced in the Central Valley, typically of every variety. And you'll find affordable, fruity, everyday examples being found there for Sauvignon Blanc. It does tend to be a little bit too on the warm side for Sauvignon, so often its real bright aromatics tend to be a little bit dumbed down from such warm places, hence why it's better from the cooler areas. But of course, we need to talk about Sauvignon Blanc's different terminology that one might be able to find in California. And that is, as you'll see here, this is Greenwich Hills, and this is the Fumé Blanc. Now, it was the very well-respected Robert Mondavi who was the first to coin the term Fumé Blanc, and many others have followed suit. It is sometimes used to indicate an oaked style of Sauvignon Blanc. So there was a bit of a movement here because the Sauvignon Blancs tended to be a little bit more neutral. The worry is with a big aromatic Sauvignon Blanc, if you put it in oak, it may mute those aromatics, reduce them. However, of course, with this warmth of climate, the Sauvignon Blancs generally are not as aromatic. So actually putting them in oak barrels is not a huge negative point. And there may be lees contact as well. And these wines could be more complex. Now, this is not a legally defined term. So therefore, if you see a Fumé Blanc on the label, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be oaky or leesy or something along those lines. It could just be a marketing tool. But for the most part, they are quite classically oaked, but not hugely, very gently, adding wines with a bit more body, broader character, and of course a creaminess and a potential oaky character as well. Do look out for the Fumé Blancs. Okay, so that brings me to the end. Please do join me for the next video, which is on the North Coast, but Napa specifically. Also actually has a written question that I worked through in that section as well. Well worth looking at, as it is as free content. As always, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please do get in touch. You can do so by commenting on this video below. Make sure you click like or subscribe. And of course, if you do find yourself in the United Kingdom, then please come and see me at one of my establishments for a class, a glass, or a bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.